Hi, I'm Haley Victoria and welcome back to my crime and policing channel. In today's session we are continuing our investigation into crimes committed at Halloween and how evidence has helped secure convictions of those responsible for them. Today's case is the case of Eric Copple. Now in 2004, Eric Copple murdered 2 of 3 housemates. They were called Leslie Mazzara and Adrienne Insona. The 3rd housemate, Lauren Mianza, thankfully escaped. Let's have a look at their case. So it was Halloween night 2004 and 3 housemates, Leslie, Adrienne and Lauren, were all having a bit of a Halloween thing. They were handing out lots of treats to trick-or-treaters, but by about 11 p.m. they went to bed, Trick-or-treats had finished. They were like, oh my god, there's only so many sweets you can eat, right? So they went to bed about 11 p.m. Not long after, Lauren said she heard the dog growling and she was like, that's unusual. I'm a bit spooked out now, not gonna lie. And then somebody broke into the house and made their way straight upstairs. Now Lauren's bedroom was downstairs and she was very, very quiet. So she heard something happening upstairs and then she heard her friend screaming. And not like, I found a spider in my room screaming, like really screaming. And she hid because she was petrified. When she was confident that whoever was doing this had left the house, she tentatively left the room and found her friends, multiple stab wounds, dead. And she left the house, went straight to authorities, and then began their investigations. They collected 218 DNA samples at this time. DNA back in 2004 was still only kind of, being used properly. Although it did, we started in the 80s and stuff like that. But anyway, I'm going off on one. So Lauren thankfully escaped. Police investigators at the time found some cigarette butts outside. These were quite specific. They were called Camel Turkish Gold. I've never even heard of that. I don't know if it's an American cigarette brand or what. And they asked Lauren, did anybody smoke in the house? And she's like, no. They asked her if she knew anybody that smoked. And she was like, oh, yeah, our friend Lily, her boyfriend smokes. He helped us move in. Now, Lily was Eric's ex-fiancée at that time. So she was also Adrienne's best friend. I don't know, maybe he thought that Adrienne and the other girls had convinced Lily to break up with him. I don't know. They did later reconcile, by the way, and get married before she realised he was a murderer. And he even attended the funeral of the girls that had died. Sicko. Anyway, so they found these cigarette butts and they did a DNA analysis on the DNA that was left on the cigarette butts, on the ends of them. They found from this test that the person likely to have used these cigarettes would have blue or green eyes, fair hair, and a northwestern European skin colour. So they'd look like, white, blue or green eyes and fair hair. And this cigarette brand is quite specific, isn't it? Presented with that information, it was everywhere. It had been released everywhere to help investigations. Eric turned himself in and admitted to the crimes. It didn't even have a motive. It didn't even give a motive. But, maybe, I'm just assuming here, it was a little bit annoyed that Lily had dumped him. Well, a lot annoyed. And maybe he blamed the girls for that. But yeah, the evidence there that helped secure that conviction was DNA found on the cigarette butt at the time. Interesting stuff, right? And it was dark, so Lauren said she didn't actually get a good look at the offender because it ran off. So yeah, evidence is everywhere. And you're leaving stuff like that behind, and it's a good opportunity to collect forensic evidence that's been in somebody's mouth. There you go. Happy Halloween!